From the bag-to-chip ratio to the MPAA movie ratings, here are 12 ways you're being lied to every day. Number 12. Radio shows. You all are trying to win those prizes they give out on the radio shows and keep calling and calling, but nothing ever happens. Well, there's kind of a good reason for that. A few people in the radio show business came forward and admits that there's a large majority of people who call in who are indeed staged voice talents who are ready to make the show get interesting. They claim that if it's a top 40 radio show, chances are a majority of them are fake. DJs have countless hours they need to fill, and they might get one of their buddies to call in and kind of roleplay as a crazy conspiracy theorist or come up with a good story about marital problems or whatnot. So keep an eye out for that next time you're listening to the radio. Number 11. Emails. Lying affects your life, and it takes place every single day. One of the most popular places for lying to take place is from emails. A recent experiment took place at the University of Massachusetts at Amherst that found out, on average, there are at least 3 times as many lies on emails than during face-to-face conversations. Undergraduates engaged in conversation with someone they didn't know for 15 minutes using email and instant messenger. At the end of the convo, the transcripts were reviewed and all the lies were picked out. This is most likely because people feel uncomfortable lying to someone's face most of the time. When you're behind the screen of a computer, on the other hand, you have time to coldly calculate your lies, and you won't give off telltale signs of lying right in front of someone's face. Just because that girl on Craigslist says she's a 10 certainly doesn't prove anything. There's so many different ways to lie on the internet and just so little time. This certainly isn't the case with YouTube videos that give you the truth 100% of the time, of course. Number 10. Movie buff liars. You ever get annoyed by those people who claim they know everything about popular movies out there? Well, it turns out there's a good chance that they're lying to you too, about 33% of the time to be exact. According to a survey taken at a streaming service company, 4 out of 5 people said they had lied about watching a movie that they have never seen on at least one occasion. If the person you're talking to hasn't seen the movie, how is the other person gonna know that you're lying about it? Most people surveyed claimed that they wanted to seem a little bit more intelligent when it came to movie pop culture, and while talking to some people, they were embarrassed to admit that they had never seen a big movie like Godfather, Titanic, or Batman. People are often quick to say something like, "Oh my god, you haven't seen Star Wars? What's wrong with you? Are you living under a rock? Now we have to go watch every single Star Wars ever created." So typically, to avoid this situation, they just say, "Yes, I've seen it." Makes sense? Number 9. Amazon and customer reviews. According to well-respected universities such as MIT and Northwestern, at least 5% of the customer reviews online are total baloney. Many people who comment on the merchandise have never even bought it or tried it before. If it's a positive review, it's likely that a person commenting is working for that company, and if it's a negative comment, it's a person working for a rival company. There's even freelance jobs out there where all you'll do is write positive Amazon reviews on companies' products. Trying to come across non-biased opinions in these review boards is like finding a needle in a haystack. Of course, it's hard to really tell sometimes which ones are complete lies, but there are quite a few that will stand out as overly praising something. You really shouldn't take these reviews too seriously. People will also review restaurants and give them terrible reviews just because the waiter spilled the salt and then exaggerate with every detail. It's best to go on the company's website, take a look at the product, and judge for yourself if it's worth trying in order to not get swayed by the biased reviews. Number 8. Resumes. People send in resumes every single day through email, which we already sort of mentioned. But come on, you wouldn't do such a thing such as lying to a potential employer now, would you? Eventually, you'd have to meet them in person and discuss your lies anyways. According to a recent study from Cornell University, the average resume contains 3 lies, or at least deliberate lies to make yourself look better. We're not talking about the exact date you started working at a company. We're talking about deliberate lies to make yourself look good. This especially took place on LinkedIn accounts. LinkedIn accounts were honest about previous jobs and employers, but deceitful about hobbies and interests. Private traditional resumes seem to be more deceitful on tasks managed. Cornell closely studied a large variety of resumes and found at least one lie 92% of the time. Number 7. 10% of text messages. Hey, running late, got caught in traffic. Yeah, right, all lies. Cornell conducted another honesty study and found out that 1 in every 10 text messages are just complete and total lies. Some of those were just small fibs or excuses, but in general, lying via text message was also easier. Some are just kind of lies to seem more polite, like saying that they have a cold, but when in reality, they're really just doing something like Netflix and chillin'. We often rely on text messaging to let someone know if we're available or not, and in modern times, it can be as easy as clicking an away signal, even though you're only 6 inches away from the screen. Cornell is beginning to believe that lying is what people have to do in order to retain some privacy, because everyone's life is out there so much because of social media. Cornell is getting pretty deep into this research, and even believes that white lies may vary depending on someone's culture. Number 6. Sales. Advertisers certainly aren't the most honest group of people in the world, and they'll find just about every single way they can in order to make us think that we're actually getting a great deal. Now, of course, sometimes we do get a good deal on things if they're overstocked and trying to get rid of merchandise. But by simply telling a customer that something is 80% off is just a bold-faced lie. Many salespeople believe that you can't truly be good at your job if you're not lying and telling some white lies every now and then. Salespeople don't really care if that sweater makes you look fat, but they certainly aren't going to tell you that and risk losing a sale. It's just common knowledge. Most people will walk into a store not even knowing what they're going to buy, and all the salespeople are doing is just pushing them into the right direction by giving them a little bit of false motivation. Number 5. Bagged chips. We've all done it before. You've opened up a bag of chips when you were hungry, and then you were left with a disappointed face when you find out that at least half of the bag was air. Each time you think, those filthy liars got me again. And then you eat the chips anyways, slightly frustrated. Nowhere on the bag does it tell you that this bag may contain up to 50% air. However, it turns out that it not only makes you think you're getting more chips, but it also protects the chips during their journey to your sofa and eventually into your stomach. It's not just any air that's pumped into the bag, it's actually nitrogen, which keeps the chips fresh and keeps them from crumbling up. The bags do contain the net weight of the product, but ultimately, customers who see bigger bags are going to assume that they're getting much more of a product. Number 4. Small talk. Another thing we do every day turns out to be about 60% lies, especially with people you haven't really met yet. It turns out that 60% of people meeting for the first time lie at least one time within the first 10 minutes of talking to each other. Common things people lie about when they first meet each other include where they're from, what kind of job they're working, their age, and their marital status. Sometimes we figure that we might not see these people again in our lives, so what difference does it make if we tell a few lies? The list goes on, and it turns out that men tend to tell more white lies, while women lie about bigger things, like it's your baby. Women also lie to tend to make people feel better about themselves, while men, on the other hand, will lie to make themselves appear to be more impressive. Hopefully, you weren't that friend who's told their friend that they love their dress, when in all reality, they look like a complete mess. But both genders are guilty of it. A lot of the time, coworkers will lie about what they did over the weekend to sound more exciting during chit-chat, or they just don't really want to tell you because they're worried it might get out as gossip. Number 3. Gas tank. Wow, even our car lies to us? How is that even possible? Well, it does, according to some car manufacturers. This is to make people feel as though their gas mileage is actually better than it really is. When you fill up your tank, it stays on full longer than it really should. Then it starts to drop a little bit quicker as it reaches the mid-tank. People basically get bummed out after they get a full tank and find out that most of the gas is already gone. Thinking your gas tank is lasting quite a long time might make people feel better, but they should really just feel like a bunch of gullible idiots who are being lied to. Is there anything out there that doesn't lie to us? Number 2. Doctors lying to you. The Hippocratic Oath states that a doctor must do whatever it takes in order to help you achieve your best health possible. So are they lying to us? Well, they do because they don't want to lose their job or their practice. Here's what's going on. People complain all the time that doctors aren't doing their job right, and in reality, a lot of the time they're not. They might prescribe the wrong medications or leave a scalpel inside you when they're conducting a surgery. The list just goes on. The doctor might even know that they've messed up and aren't admitting to it, because doing so could result in them losing their job. They would also have to deal with a massive lawsuit that puts the whole company out of business. Doctors who agreed to take a survey, remained anonymous of course, showed that 10% had knowingly told a patient something that wasn't true. 55% also admitted to being overly positive about patients' conditions, when in fact they were quite serious. 20% stated that they had not completely disclosed an error that they made with a patient. Number 1. Movie ratings. Each day you go to the movies or see an ad for a movie, you'll normally come across a movie rating from the Motion Picture Association of America. These are supposed to be guidelines on who's able to see what and what kind of content is suitable for children. There are 5 different ratings. G means that everyone can see it. PG suggests that everyone can see it, but some content might not be suitable for kids. PG-13 means that you must be accompanied by an adult if you're under 13, and R-rated means that you must be 17 or older to see it. Finally, there's the dreaded NC-17, which means no content is suitable for anyone under 17, not even with an adult. Has the MPAA been lying to us about what is suitable? Film critic Roger Ebert claims that the MPAA is emphasizing too much on sexual content for determining a rating. All it takes is one nipple basically, and the whole movie gets slapped with an R rating. However, graphic movies such as Dark Knight with intense scenes of violence can still get away with a PG-13. Disney seems to get away with quite a bit of dramatic violence like we saw in Lion King when Simba dies, and who still isn't traumatized by that? There's also the scene in Beauty and the Beast where a guy falls off a cliff. Movies like these are still given a G rating, but if someone shows their butt, it's an automatic PG-13 if not an R rating. This could potentially be worth millions of dollars in difference for filmmakers. The MPAA is calling the shots and lying if necessary to increase profits or support their agenda. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for new videos every day.